Hey ChatGPT, I'm currently recording a YouTube video. I want to do a video about comparing New York Marathon, London Marathon and Sydney Marathon I've done over the last 5 months. Give me 5 different topics that I can rank which marathon I preferred. Hey everyone, this is the video we're doing today. I might as well just give you my market research whilst I do it. So what we're doing is we're going to compare London, Sydney, New York Marathon, see which one I preferred the most, give me my personal opinion. Now, what I will say is, one, marathons aren't fun. I don't think anyone enjoys a marathon. They're very rewarding, they're very meaningful, they're very spiritual for me, everything, but I don't enjoy doing them. It's 26 miles of running, which is exhausting, tough, and when you have big calves, running's harder. So let's do it. So we're going to do 10 topics. I'm going to rank which ones. These are all majors. Now I have also got Jerusalem, Toronto, which I'll talk about here and there, but I think people are more interested in the top. They're the major marathons. So I have different opinions per one. And at the end I will mention which one I actually enjoyed with everything to counter, and I think people will be actually very surprised with my answer, because from when I speak to people, I actually think very differently from what other people think, especially in New York. So at the end I'll give you my answer. So the first one is course and scenery. So course and scenery, again, I'm not really prepared what the things are going to come up. I thought the ending of Sydney was really cool. You've got the harbour, the Sydney Opera House, which is cool. New York, I think it's more like the five cities, the five, whatever it's called. Sorry, my geography is horrendous in New York. London was also quite cool. Big Ben. I think London has to be top because it went through everything. Very historic, which is cool. I think Sydney would be second, purely with the bridge, that famous bridge in Sydney, and the ending. And then New York, I think New York for me, I don't think we ran through so many like historic things. So that's just the course. But the scenery of New York was really nice. Like, it was a lot of the weather was nice, so that was nice. Crowd, atmosphere. So Sydney was last. Great crowd at the end, but probably last compared to others. This is really interesting because I think London and New York are the same. Most people there's more support in New York, but I remember in London that there was a very small time that there wasn't crowd, and I think they're similar. I don't think one is better than the other. I think both had great support. Both were very different in their way. I actually don't think one was better than the other. Both were just great. For me, my support, New York was the best. Like, it was amazing for my support. But I went in a Batman costume and I'm running for the Beat Boys, so a lot of followers come out. But generally, if I wasn't running for a cause or wasn't a content creator, I think they're both really good. Organisation versus logistics. This is bib pickup, start line, water. I think New York has to be top. The organisation of New York, I have to give them credit. It was so slick. I was very impressed with that. If anything, it felt too slick. I was like, this is quite robotic. So I was like, where are the problems? Because London was slick, but it was a bit uncomfortable to get to the start line. Sydney was very easy as well, actually. Sydney was pretty much good. There was more queues in Sydney. Like New York, I didn't queue up, which was crazy. Just like A, B, C. Yes, it takes a lot of time. I was very impressed with New York. And the water stations, New York was great as well. I was very impressed with New York. I'm going to give, there's things I didn't like about New York, by the way. A lot of things I didn't like about New York Marathon. But so far, I was very impressed with a lot of these things. Running experience and so on. So quality of the race day support, gels, drinks, medals, shirts, recovery zones. Interesting topic. Ooh, okay. Quality of race day support. I would say all of them were very good. Water stations, I think, again, New York and London, it's a bigger marathon, so there's more water stations. Start line setup for London, it was pretty simple. Actually, it was pretty uncomfortable, London. They put you in this place, and the grass was actually a bit long. Yeah, I think. Sydney was so early in the morning. It was too dark for me. But it was kind of nice that and I was also jet lagged at 4 a.m. And then New York start was so efficient. I was like very impressed with ABC, boom, boom, boom. And also there was a minyan, there was a Jewish tent in New York, so that's a huge plus. Personal connection, performance, how you feel personally for the race. So Sydney was my best time. It was quite interesting. I had massive jet lag for Sydney, so I was running. My start of the run was 1 a.m. Body clock time for me, so that was really tough. But then that got my personal best, which is great. And then emotional high challenges. I think all of them for the cause is I'm not going to. They're all for the same cause, so I think that's very important. Cost. Value for money, again, that's a bit different because each one's very different, so I'm going to ignore that because you're traveling to Sydney, you'd expect to pay more, like everything is the same. So value for money, I'm going to ignore number 6, but I'm going to change it to the ending. I'm going to add one because these points are okay. The finish line, that's line number 6. In last place, New York. This is one of the biggest disappointment I had about New York Marathon, was that the ending is meant to be this amazing thing. And I think mile 21 should have been the ending where it ended, because I was like, this is, wow, so special. Mile 21 of New York Marathon, I don't think can be beaten. It's so much support. But then you've got 2 more miles where the support is a lot less. And the last mile, the last 300 meters, last mile, say, there's not much support. There's flags. And I'm like, oh, this is meant to be the biggest marathon in the world. And then you have to walk a mile afterwards. And I'm like, if you went into Central Park, or went round where you finished, and actually that was mile 21, and then you do like a big loop, and then a big turn again, and that 5th Ave was the ending, I think that would be perfect. Now, obviously, Jason, it's very hard, because I get it, you got logistics, so I understand, but what I will say is Sydney and London endings were so much better. London, this symbolic Buckingham Palace, this really historic road, magical. The British flags, really, really cool. And then Sydney was my favourite. The fact that you get to run downhill for the end, which is great. The last 600 metres, I think everyone was like running at like sprint pace. And then you see in the distance, Sydney Opera House, you see the bridge, and then it's this lovely blue. Actually, the post-Sydney was a bit annoying. It made you walk a lot. I guess you got to walk a lot, but London, I think, was great because you walked a bit and it was just like you're in the open. So I thought that was quite nice. Weather and timing. All of them were warm. A lot hotter than I expected each one to be. So not one is not better than the other. What I will say about London was, with London Marathon, it was a very warm day, and 3 months before that, the weather in the UK was very dull and cold. So for a lot of people, it's found it really hard because you've been training in the cold weather, and suddenly one day it just turns out to be 22 degrees, which is hot for the UK. You saw that, a lot of people fainting, and it was really sad to see. Pre-race experience, expo registration, I enjoyed all of them. Probably I preferred New York and Sydney more. Thought the London Expo was a bit, maybe that's because I'm from the UK and it was more exciting to go to a different country. That's probably the answer to that. But yeah, travel convenience and pre-race excitement. again, I think that's everyone's different experience. With Sydney, I was with a group of people. With New York and London, I was kind of by myself. I like New York, the Minion tent. I thought that was so special. I thought it was really, really cool. Post celebration, I didn't celebrate. I just wanted to sleep and rest and to eat clean so my tummy didn't get hurt. The culture and city vibe, again, kind of very similar right now, I would say. So that was 10 points. Probably should have done a bit more research there because there would have been more better points. But on the whole, I think I preferred Sydney the best. For me, I think Sydney was the best marathon. And I think because of the Sydney Marathon, it was the first time it was a major marathon. And I think not many people were entered compared to New York and London. And I think New York and London, and now I'm comparing it, I'm bringing Jerusalem, I'm bringing Dead Sea, I'm bringing in Toronto. When there's smaller people running, I enjoy it more, and I find it more challenging mentally, physically. And I think that's because I've done a few smaller ones, and you are a bit more, I'll be honest with you, you get a bit more attention because the crowd, you're running shoulder to shoulder. You feel like you're in a nightclub trying to run around someone or just trying not to get bumped in. And I think that's a challenge of having big marathons. And I think my answer would be very different if I hadn't done smaller marathons now. Jerusalem was so special, but there wasn't as many people running, so you had a lot more freedom, a lot more flexibility. Same with Toronto, same with Dead Sea, same with a bit more Sydney because it was still so fresh, and next year I'll be so busy and packed. That's what I realised. I think I actually appreciate a bit of a smaller marathon, and you get to really enjoy the flags, the signs that people make. Because I remember when I did smaller marathons, I see every single sign and I'm reading it. With New York, you kind of like, whoa, you missed 10 good signs. So it's like very much like just finishing. Whether all the smaller marathons, including Sydney, even though I wouldn't call Sydney small anymore, I think I was able to enjoy the marathon for the marathon. But what I will say, the New York support was amazing, like magical. I love that. So the support was the best in New York, 100%. The vibes was the best in New York. I think I just prefer Sydney, not from the I meant from the race day. Support's the best, and I don't think support makes the marathon because you still got to complete 26.2. That helped massively. So I'm going to put Sydney first, then I'm putting New York second, and then London third. I've got a lot of reasons why I didn't like London as much, and I'm not going to talk about them online because I keep that to myself. But it's still very good. Like again, I don't enjoy marathon. I don't not enjoy marathon because it's a marathon. You're not meant to enjoy it. It's a tough challenge, but at the same time, it's such a big event that everyone's experience is very, very different. And I don't want to rank any of them because it's also each one so magical and special for me because it's especially for a good cause. But I know people watching this video are like, well, which one should I do next? I've done Berlin or I've done Chicago. I want to do one in 2025, 2026. Which one I want to do? And I think if you can get into any, all of them are really hard to get into now. But I just recommend getting Sydney because it's such a good opportunity to actually travel. Would I ever go to Sydney if I didn't do the marathon? I wish I did. But sometimes when people say, I wish I did something, and then 10 years later you don't do it, I think going for a marathon is a great excuse to go.